Many thanks for joining us on the One Slot. My name is Rita Omodia. Now, concerned about the significant influx of migrants, the United Kingdom is poised to unveil new measures aimed at curbing the arrival of Nigerian students and other nationalities studying in the country alongside their families. Reports from the UK suggest these stringent measures set to be announced this week will entail prohibiting most master's students and several other postgraduates from bringing their families along. Now, what effect will this have on international student visa applications and prospective students? This will be our focus on today's edition of One Slot. Do stay with us. Data obtained from the Home Affairs last year indicates that Nigerians accounted for the highest increase in the number of dependents accompanying individuals holding studying visa for the period ending in June 2022. There has been a remarkable surge in the number of individuals entering Britain by taking advantage of their relatives' student visas. In the previous year, students brought a total of 135,788 family members to the country, which is 9 times higher than the figure recorded in 2019. Notably, 59,053 Nigerian students were responsible for bringing over 60,923 relatives last year. Rishi Sunak is anticipated to vigorously address the issue of immigration, highlighting that the statistics in question predate his tenure as Prime Minister and are based on data from December 2022, just 2 months after he assumed office as the Prime Minister. Due to these considered alarming figures, the stringent measures set to be announced this week will entail prohibiting most master's students and several other postgraduates from bringing their families along. Nevertheless, it is important to note that the restrictions will not apply to PhD students who typically pursue courses lasting between 3 and 5 years and possess advanced skills. Joining us in this first half, we have Abdur-Rahman Balogun. He is the head of Media, Public Relations and Protocols Unit, NIDCOM, that is Nigerians and Diaspora Commission. He joins us from Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us on One Slot.
Thank you very much.
Now, looking at the numbers that we have seen and the people or the influx of students who are going to the United Kingdom for studies, what factors can you say have contributed to the significant influx of students choosing the United Kingdom as their study destination?
Oh, thank you very much for that. Well, factors, maybe one of the factors, if you may say, is that our colonizers, we have the same language, we speak the same language. English is our lingua franca, and that may account for the high number of students that are going to UK. Secondly, I mean, if you look at it, we have some affinity, even not now, even from 80s, 60s, 70s, some of our fathers and forefathers, you see that there have been this symbiotic relationship between Nigerians and between Nigeria and the UK in terms of overseas studies. So it's nothing new, actually. But what I can say about that is that now we have a population explosion. Don't forget, it is being programmed by the year 20, we are in 2023 now.
Yeah.
By the year 2040, 2045, it's being programmed that Nigeria will be the 3rd largest populated country after India, China, even beating United States of America, which has over 250 million population. At that time, it's been projected that will be netting close to 450 million people. So look at the universities in Nigeria. The JAM, the examination body that conducts exam for students in Nigeria, this last one, there are over 1.5 million students. The total number of capacity of Nigerian universities, polytechnic, colleges of education, private, government, and states cannot take more than 600,000 students. So what now happened to the remaining over 900,000? They have to look here and there to pursue their academic pursuits.
So in other
I
words,
think these are some of the reasons that
yes, talking about these factors that you've listed, one of them, you talked about the fact that the language, there's no language barrier. It's all English speaking. It's an English speaking country. Just right now, you also mentioned the fact that there's a population explosion rather, and the fact that the number of Nigerian students cannot the number of Nigerian universities cannot accommodate the students. What has the Nigerian government done about this? Because we're seeing this population explosion. We're seeing lots of people, and it's given this syndrome that we're having, the jackpot syndrome that we have had in Nigeria and all over Africa. So what has the Nigerian government done to at least make use of what we have here? Because some other people will also say that apart from the fact that there are not enough universities, there's also no pleasurable environment or accommodative environment for learning in Nigeria. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, talking about what the Nigerian government has done about that, just last week, the federal government of Nigeria registered fresh new 37 federal universities, 37 universities in the country just last week. I think that's one big effort that we can really give it to the federal government of Nigeria. The NUC license 37 new universities. I think some polytechnics are also being upgraded to universities and they are being expanded. And then the incoming administration has promised that a 4-year course will henceforth be a 4-year course, meaning that labor unrest, student unrest will be a thing of the past from next week. So we are hoping that if all these are being put in place, of course, there are some part of the requirement of the labor union is to equip the universities and polytechnics. And that is being done through that fund and some other special intervention funds to make sure that our lab are well equipped and some other necessary treatment for educational facilities are provided. And talking about the enabling environment, recently the Minister of Works said they've done some infrastructural upgrades in some federal universities across the country, geopolitical, in terms of provision of roads, provision of water, provision of building, provision of power, and some other things necessary for development in some of these universities. I mean, the cumulative of all this, if you have them, I'm of the opinion that things will change for better in the nearest future.
It's one thing to have a structure. Do you see this lecturers' pay or salaries issue, the strike that we've had over the years? Is it also an issue and one of the factors that has caused this explosion of migration or of students that we're seeing from Nigeria to the United Kingdom? Can you hear me, Abdur-Rahman?
No, you are talking about poor remuneration for lecturers.
Yes, as one of the factors why we are having a large increase of migration of students going to the United Kingdom.
But the other way around, that should account for the migration of the lecturers and not the students.
But when there are no students, when there are no lecturers to teach, why would the students go to the classrooms when there is no proper structure? It would also make them to migrate to the United Kingdom. Don't you think so?
Well, I don't know whether you are aware. I think a month or 2 months ago, the same United Kingdom, workers there, they went on a 1 week strike. Especially the medicals, they went on a 1 week strike. The nursing, even some lecturers, some workers. So this global recession, we just have to understand it. And that is why they too are curtailing the number of influx into their societies, to their system. It's global. It's not only restricted to Nigeria, but only in Nigeria here we shout ourselves to ours that our government is bad, this is that. Look at those people who evacuated from Sudan now. They are back here now. Majority of them are students. And the same economy, the same system they ran away from, it's the same system that is absorbing them to complete their educational institution. So we should not run our country aground. We should realize that this global economic recession, or whatever you call it, is global and it's not limited to Nigeria. And the same way we are feeling it, others are even feeling it more. We even have more shock absorber for all this. So I think our people should have patience, and I think what we have is enough to go around. As you can see, most of the people that we train here, if they are not usable, people will not be recruiting them outside the country. Of course, don't get me wrong. There's nothing bad in people migrating. Migration is a fundamental human right. But if you must migrate, migrate legitimately. That has been our slogan. Migrate with duty of purpose. You must have a purpose so that you have your integrity. That is what my shaman has been saying, the right honorable Abdul. That is what she has been saying.
Yeah.
So on that, I want to say that remuneration is not only limited to the lecturers, even it's across board. Across board, just last month, civil servants that have not witnessed increase in their salaries since 2003. Since 2003, and salaries were increased by 40%. So it's not that let us be patient, and then the whole thing will be what is not available now. We definitely go around.
I'm very sure that Nigerians are patient. Now, with this global recession you talk about, everyone is definitely aware of that. But despite all of this, people would rather leave their home and go to outside shores or even go through illegal ways just to go away from the problems you're facing in the country. But aside all of that now, as a member of Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission, we know that there are some of challenges that these Nigerian students face while in the UK. So what are some of the challenges that they face, and what has been the measures to address this problems that they face?
Well, so many challenges they are facing, and that's why we are saying where they are going, that they think the grass is greener. It's not as green as Nigeria. Whether east or west, home is the best. They face various challenges. Yes, there were diaspora. We will still see what we can do to, as the challenges come. They have challenges of documentation. Some of them have challenges of documentation. Some of them have challenges of accommodation. Some of them have challenges of being duped. Some of them have challenges of so many other fraudulent activities by their so-called agents. You know, we have some agents that their trading stock is to recruit and pretend as if they are helping them out. But once you are there, you are on your own. So some of these challenges, I mean, once it's genuine and we know about it, the one we can do. Don't forget they migrated on their own. It's a voluntary thing. It's personal to them. It was not as a result of government forcing them out. No. It's on their own. They say for greener pasture. They will not even inform the government on getting to their destination. They will not even want to identify with the Nigerian Embassy or High Commission.
And why do you think they would do that? There has to be a reason why they would go through such extreme measures. So why do you think Nigerians will go through all that?
I think it's ignorance. Because if you know that this person you abandon now is going to be your savior, you will definitely want to curry the favor.
Will you necessarily call it ignorance or lack of trust in the federal government when the people do not trust that the government can come to their aid? Ignorance, not lack of trust. So the government has done enough for them.
It is ignorance. It's not lack of trust. Because if it is lack of trust, why are they not coming back to that same government to come and help them? Okay, for instance now, the number you mentioned in your highlight, over 135,788, or in 2022, 59,000. If the government of UK now decide to repatriate almost half of this number back home, so whose responsibility is that? It will still be the same government that they don't trust. And they've done that before. They've deported some of them back from US, from Germany, from UK, from Europe. So, I mean, it is ignorance. So it's better when you arrive at a particular country that is not yours, that is the global protocol. You identify with your embassy. You let them know that you are there. I mean, it's not for anything. You don't need to visit physically. You can call, you can mail. My name is Abdur-Rahman Balogun. I'm in London now for a 3-year program. I'm living here. So that and that is another type of Nigerians outside the country. Because Nigerians don't even want their diaspora portal. Do you know that Nigerians will not even register there? They don't want people to know their movement. They don't want people to know how they are faring until they run into trouble.
And how have you reached out? How have you reached out to those who are there? As I said earlier on, there has to be a reason why they do all this. And you talked about ignorance, but you did not specifically say what exactly they are ignorant about. Ignorant about the commission, ignorant about the government. What exactly are they ignorant about if you say that it's just being plain ignorant?
Well, that's one of the things we are doing here. What we are doing now is a form of advocacy for them right there to listen to this. We have programs running on radio and television. We have programs running on diaspora radio. We have our diaspora newsletter, which is online. We have a functioning website. These are diaspora newsletter. We have a functioning website. We have a Nigerian diaspora organization called NIDCOM that is all over the country. At least if you cannot identify with the embassy, identify with your fellow citizens that are there. We have social cultural groups that are there. I mean, we have a way of reaching out to them. And but you just discover that outside the country, some people just want to go solo. They don't want to identify with anybody. They don't want to know.
Abdur-Rahman, I don't know if you could clarify this, but there have also been accusations and allegations against NIDCOM that they've also reached out, and sometimes there's been a slow response when it comes to time for aid. Remove those that did not reach out to the government or to the NIDCOM. Those that have reached out, they've complained that there has been slow response or there has been no response at all. What do you make to those allegations?
That is very correct. That is very correct. No doubt about that. We've received series of complaints as regards that there have been some slow response from the embassy. Well, it also depends on the issue. For instance, you know you are traveling next month, June, and it is May 31. You just discovered that your passport has expired, and then you want it to renew within 1 week. I mean, that may not work out. These are some of the problems that they will tell you our embassy is so slow, it's so this, it's so that. You are the owner of the passport. You'll be holding it for 5 years. And because of that now, the federal government of Nigeria has extended the tenor, I mean, what we call it, the expiration for the passport. The passport now, for those of them in diaspora, you can do your passport for 10 years, for instance. That is a response to that. Because 90% of the issue they're having with the embassy has to do with passports. Issuance of passports, 90%. And there is no embassy that doesn't have an immigration officer. They equally have immigration officer. Some they even have immigration office so that the passport is printed there. But we want to encourage Nigerians to apply at least 6 months before the expiration of their passports, so that some of this slow response will test. Some other issue are basically domestic. Maybe there's a business between a Nigerian and a Tanzanian or a Ghanaian, and they believe Nigeria is not forthcoming to be on their side, or there is another issue that has to do with, some of it has personal in nature.
Okay.
It has to follow the necessary procedure.
Yes, I'm going to ask a question, and I'm looking at the support systems that Nigerian Diaspora Commission gives to these Nigerians, because there is a saying that goes, the way you treat your fellow Nigerians is the way outsiders will treat you. There has been talk about discrimination, and even with this proposed ban or restriction of dependents of students' families, some people have also seen it as a discrimination against Nigerians and other international students, despite the effort, despite the support that they put into the UK educational system. How have you treated Nigerians over there? Because you talk about ignorance when you mentioned it there, and an outsider or foreigner who hears you would also think that all Nigerians are ignorant. How exactly have you treated Nigerians respectively in a way that outsiders, foreigners, international bodies will also respect Nigerians? Because we've also had situations where Nigerians have been treated badly outside, other Africans have been treated badly outside due to the way Nigerians are treating fellow Nigerians. What do you say about that? How have you treated Nigerians?
Yes. What you call respect begets respect. Nigerians should equally treat themselves with respect, dignity. You are ambassador wherever you find yourself. That is what my chairman normally tells you, that you are an ambassador. Anywhere you are, know that you are representing the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Green, white, green. Be proud of that flag. So you have to behave yourself. You don't misbehave. Let me give you an instance. This operation that we just did in Sudan, the Egyptian authorities said it is only Nigeria that gets to the border that will be evacuated. Now, they've already planned and provided 350 Nigerians to be evacuated. Do you know that 26 Nigerians just came from nowhere, smuggled themselves in, and that disrupted that operation for 10 hours. They insisted that they must go. You are not part of those people that have been profiled. It's a very unruly behavior. Some were even jumping through the window. They said, like, queue up then before you enter the bus. Some are not jumping through the window in another man's land. It is very, very wrong. So respect begets respect. If you want to be treated well, you equally must respect yourself, do what is right. And in Nigeria, yeah, you can just be somewhere and do open the vacation. You can't do that anywhere outside the country. But you see some Nigerians, they'll go out there and be misbehaving. The other time, some 4 Nigerians go to Dubai within 24 hours and went to rob a bank, a Bureau de change bank.
Abdur-Rahman, when you're mentioning this percentage, you're saying 4. We have about how many migrants over there? Would you generalize it as most of the Nigerians over there are not behaving themselves well, and that is why they've been treated irrationally?
No, I'm not saying all Nigerians are behaving irrationally. I never said that. What I'm saying is that respect begets respect. It is the behavior of one. It can rub off on 1 million people. For instance, they ask you to queue up at the security checkpoint, and then they are now checking. They said this, and then you decided to jump. And at the end of the day, they check, they say you are Nigerian. So any other Nigerians coming, they will treat them like, there was a time, I don't want to mention the name of the country now.
Yeah.
They normally strike Nigeria naked when they pass the skinny thing because they believe Nigerians, they carry drugs and do some other thing. Meanwhile, so Nigerians who are dignified on their own were subjected to that ridicule because of the behavior of one person. So that is why we are saying we don't even want one person to misbehave. Because if one person misbehaves and you are caught to be Nigerian, then it will rub off on millions of Nigerians. So anytime we find ourselves outside the country, let us respect ourselves. Even if you have issue with our embassy, that is personal. It's something that we can resolve. We have a way of resolving our issue. Imagine Nigerians going into one country and be doing what do you call this, courtesy, and all this, brandishing cutlass in another man's country. When they were caught, they don't even know what kind of law they will use to prosecute them because they don't know what is called courtesy in their law. So why would Nigeria be doing that?
All right, Abdur-Rahman, aside from those who have not portrayed themselves very well in the light for Nigeria and those who were studying diligently in those schools, we're seeing a situation where the UK government is trying to restrict dependents. We know how important family is. You see a child about 17 or 16 going to the United Kingdom, and now you're saying that dependents, there will be restriction for it. How will it affect the Nigerian students, and what is the effort of the NIDCOM? What are the plans concerning this proposed plan by the United Kingdom concerning this?
Well, before I answer that question, I quickly want to say that NIDCOM, we have recognized some Nigerians. I don't know whether you've seen a copy of our compendium. We compiled a list of diaspora icons, 660 diaspora icons. We identify some Nigerians who have been doing well, who have been making Nigeria proud all over the world. We identify them across various fields: medicine, ICT, sports, entertainment, education, and some other fields like that, diplomacy and the rest. We have them, we compile that book, and if you see people who are in that book, was over 660 Nigerians. And that's just the first follow. And these are people who have distinguished themselves in the area of politics, in all human endeavor. And they are Nigerians. And the country where they are proud of them that these are good Nigerians. So these are the people that we want other people to emulate. As per the United Kingdom Britain policy on restricting family, well, it's a sovereign nation, just as well as a sovereign nation. We cannot dabble into their domestic policy. They have their reason why they want to do that. Again, let me cite an instance. Somebody went to Sudan to study, one person. He got there married, and then have married 2 wives and have 9 kids. 9 kids. This is our recent experience. He came with 2 wives and 9 kids. This is somebody who went to study. So the same thing with UK. Some people who go for study, then gradually they bring in their spouse, and then the children, and then, I think it's affecting the economy. I don't want to speak for them. They have their reason. There's nothing NIDCOM can do about it. It's their internal policy. Just we have our own internal policy here, which they cannot dabble into. They cannot dabble into their own internal policy in a way to curtail their global recession. Don't forget, there was a time in Nigeria that we closed our border, if you can recollect. So every country has its own policy to see how it can boost the economy, how it can increase the capacity of the citizen.
So you feel NIDCOM is
make life comfortable.
So NIDCOM is not bothered with the fact that some under or minors will not have dependents in the United Kingdom, no support system in a foreign land. Is NIDCOM not bothered about this particular rise or this particular situation?
It's not part of our mandate. We have our mandate as contained in diaspora policy that somebody went with a minor, something that is illegal, you perpetrate illegality, and then you now want to come to ratify it. How possible is that? So it's not part of our mandate. It's not part of our mandate. If a country you are going, say they don't want something, it is not NIDCOM that will now say, no, they must have it. There was a time in Dubai, they were withdrawing UAE, they are withdrawing work permits from Nigerians and some other people. People are saying NIDCOM should intervene. How? It's their internal policy. You can only meet with them diplomatically, talk with them and say, oh, please don't do this. When that was in South Africa, xenophobic in South Africa, it was the minister met with the counterpart to discuss it. It's not something you just say. It's a foreign policy, something that is a policy of the country. You cannot dabble into it in international relations. You can only meet with them, plead with them that, you know, we have, these are our citizens, this and that and that. And that will be done by our Foreign Ministry, Minister of Foreign Affairs. It's not even NIDCOM.
Okay. Now, given that example that you mentioned, you said someone went outside the country and then you had a family, you went there for studies, you had a family, you got a wife, and then you got children. Don't you think the reason for that is because of the suitable environment it is there? Because some of the students complain. We have a situation where most of our students leave Nigeria and go outside the foreign shores to further their studies, but somehow they don't come back. Why do you think they do not come back to the country after going overseas to study?
It is not. Yes, it is not a crime. If you travel out and you think where you are comfortable, you want to make your ends meet there. I mean, like I said, migration is your legitimate right. It's not a crime. But to not look for why, it will just be like, I'm comfortable here. Just like you are saying, why will I not travel? I'm comfortable in Nigeria. I'm okay. I'm okay here. So if the preference of some people is to travel, and then with their travel, I mean, we are out of the situation of a banker who now come to a cleaner in UK. Is that the kind of job, is that the kind of environment we are talking about?
All right, Abdur-Rahman, I just want one last one before we go.
Preference.
One last one, aside from preference, if everything is okay in Nigeria, we have security, we have good jobs, when a situation you finish school, you can get a job, don't you think that most Nigerians who study there would come back to the country?
As you said, globally, there's nowhere everything is okay. There will always be one deficiency or the other. No country is perfect. No country is an island. We depend on one another. And that is why we say the world is a global village. Okay. I have just told you the global recession. People are shouting now that Nigeria is indebted. But all the countries that are going to, they are more indebted than Nigeria. I mean, you can Google it. You can check the facts yourself. So I think we just come up with some excuses to fulfill our innate ambition. Fine. But don't now rub it off on the country. That is what we are saying. You have your fundamental human right to move, to migrate on your own, but do it legally, do it legitimately, behave responsibly, and be a good ambassador of your country wherever you find yourself.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us. Be a good ambassador of the country. Thank you, Abdur-Rahman Balogun, for joining us on this conversation. Thank you for joining us on One Slot.
Thank you for having me.